A movie where two enemies literally swap faces sounds insane. And that's exactly why Nick Hunter told me to go back, rewatch Face Off. So shout out to you for the recommendation. And hey, if you guys throw suggestions in the comments and I pick your movie, I'll give you a shout out too. But here's the real question. Is Face Off actually a great movie, or is it just carried by one of the wildest concepts ever put to film? Before getting into anything, we gotta talk about the concept, because this is easily the movie's biggest strength. The idea of two enemies literally swapping identities is wild. And more importantly, it creates a built-in emotional conflict. It's not just about stopping the villain anymore. It's about reclaiming your life, your family, your identity. And that alone carries a lot of the movie. Right away, this movie makes it clear that it is a 90s action movie. You've got slow motion everywhere, dramatic camera swings, and even those moments where the movie replays a part of an action beat from a slightly different angle. And while that style can be fun, it can also really date itself really hard. Visually, it has a really strong identity. You always know you're watching Face Off. But the trade-off is immersion. Some of those slow motion shots and repeated moments feel less like storytelling and more like stylistic choices for the sake of it. So instead of pulling you deeper into the scene, they sometimes remind you you're watching a movie. And that disconnect adds up over time. The movie also shows its age in some pretty obvious ways, especially with the technology. You've got these big clunky CRT monitors and outdated systems that instantly lock it into that 90s era. It's not distracting on its own, but it does make it harder to view this movie as anything timeless. One thing really stood out to me on this rewatch was the score. For most of the movie, it's actually pretty subtle. You don't always notice it, you feel it, and that works really well. Especially in the emotional moments. But by the time you get to the climax, it shifts. The music becomes way more noticeable, and instead of supporting the scene, it starts to take over. And that really pulled me out a bit. What's really interesting about the performance is how Nicolas Cage and John Travolta are already blending into each other before the movie even swamps them. At the beginning, Cage doesn't fully feel like Cage. He's more restrained, almost like a slightly more animated version of John Travolta's style. And Travolta does the opposite. He feels like a more expressed, little bigger, like he's channeling Nick Cage's energy, but still grounded in his own character. They're not fully switching, but they're meeting in the middle. So when this face swap finally happens, it works because they've already matched each other's body language, tone, and rhythm just enough that you buy it. It's not just the concept of doing the heavy lifting. The performances are what actually sell the illusion. The opening of Face Off is surprisingly grounded. It starts off almost like a straight up emotional drama. And in just a few minutes, it clearly sets up the characters, the stakes, and the central conflict. You understand exactly why Archer is chasing Troy and why this isn't just another mission. It's personal. And that clarity really matters because once the movie shifts into its more insane concept, you're still anchored in something real. The first half has really solid pacing. It's focused, efficient, and keeps things moving. But later on, it starts to feel a bit stretched. Some scenes go on way longer than they really need to. And the flow gets less consistent. So while it works overall, it definitely loses a bit of that early momentum. This movie is entertaining, no question. The concept alone keeps you locked in and carries a lot of the experience. But it's uneven. There are moments that really work and others that really don't. So while it's always watchable, it never really comes together the way it should. So for me, Face Off lands as a queen. There's a lot to enjoy here. The concept, the style, some of the performances, but it doesn't quite reach that next level. It's a good watch, just not a great one. If you've got a movie you want me to review, drop it in the comments. You might get a shout out in the next video. Pull up a chair. I'll do you in for the next hand.